Diamond Importers. You need to go to mervisdiamond.com. Right now, if you purchase a ring or a fabulous piece of jewelry, you can earn up to $5,000 in travel from Takori Journeys. Check out one of their locations. Just head to mervisdiamond.com. Also, Crystal City, it's September. September is September in Crystal City with its popular lineup of tasting events and weekly pop-up beer and wine garden, including pups and pilsners and Fridays at the Fountain. More details at crystalcity.org. All right.
That music always gets me there, you know?
All right.
All right. All right. Here we go. What's the phrase that you hear?
Do you have your headphones?
Hi, Fraser.
What's the phrase
You want
that
some?
you hear every day? Hey, Fraser.
I have some in my own bag.
Yeah, get your headphones. It's a professional show.
Yeah.
Donna.
Tune in.
Yeah, you gotta tune in.
Sarah Fraser on the mic.
We about to begin with the most Paul Wharton looking fleek.
Take it from
Me, you should be listening. Live from the nation's cap, pop culture at its best.
No need a second guess. Separated from
Yes, they can hear me.
nonetheless. Many topics to address. Sarah, she's a veteran. Number one step.
Hey, Frage. Paul Wharton. Welcome, everybody, to the Hey Frage podcast with Paul Wharton.
Hey, Sarah.
It's that time of the week, you guys. A brand new pop culture show that's entertaining, that's inspiring. Yes, we have it all for you. And, I never forget to turn off the other song when it's coming out. Sorry, whatever. Hi, everybody. We got a full house today.
Hey, baby.
Paul Wharton, how you doing, hon?
Girl, I'm good. How are you?
Are you good? Are you feeling the spirit? Because I was a little, you were like a little funky just a minute ago. You
I'm
weren't
feeling the spirit
Oh my
of
God.
the podcast.
Maybe it's
okay?
the weather today. I'm not.
It's working through me. Okay, I can be honest.
Yes, be honest.
I feel like shit. No, I'm just kidding. And life is such a blessing. I'm just happy to be here.
I know. It's so true.
Just happy to be here.
You never know what's ahead of you. Look, we have a lot to get to on this show. We always have fun on this show. We have great topics. And today we're doing something new called Sex of the Round Table, okay? So instead of nights, because no one here is a Knight of the Round Table, really.
Right.
I don't know, is
Right.
that a really cheesy reference?
No. We're with you.
It was. No one is.
We're with you.
Anyway, we all have sex issues that are happening in our lives. So we're going to do a round table today to discuss. We really need to. No, we are. Absolutely. Also coming up on the show, look, I say this a lot, but one of the things I'm most proud of about this podcast is we have such a diverse audience, okay? So many people from different age groups and different backgrounds and different political views listen to us for entertainment and potentially a little knowledge here or there.
Yeah.
So today, a friend of mine, Jeremy Lerman, who is a PhD in economics, getting one at George Mason here in Virginia, is coming on because I've been fascinated by DACA, which is just happening around immigration, and essentially that is something that President Trump, is trying to stop. I'm going to be really honest. I do not know a lot about immigration. I don't know a lot about U.S. policy. I really don't. When it comes to economics in this country, I got to say I'm pretty ignorant.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
So he's going to be here to tell us what we need to know about DACA and basically, I think, a little bit of easier, fun, hopefully more entertaining way, if you will.
Sure. For the millennials.
For the millennials. So we're going to get to all that. And then I have news for you guys. I don't know if you recall. I'm obsessed with documentaries. And is anyone else in shock? Scott Peterson, who was accused of murdering his wife, Lacey Peterson, in 2004, is innocent.
Now, you're going to have to break this down for me. How did you come to that conclusion? Can't you make anyone seem innocent in a documentary, though?
I don't know. Is anybody else? Here's my call to people today.
Okay.
Is anyone else become obsessed with Scott Peterson on A&E? They're running like a 6-part series on Scott Peterson that essentially he may be innocent of Lacey Peterson's murder. And I've got to tell you, it looks like it's so true.
So I know you probably shouldn't say, but who does it seem like did it?
Well, I don't want to give too much away for anybody that watches, because by the way, this is on demand and there are 4 series in. I'm not sure if it's 5 or 6 parts, but anyway, there are 4 episodes in. I watched over the weekend. I couldn't stop because I was convinced Scott Peterson was just this complete narcissist, guilty, right?
OJ innocent, Scott guilty.
Yes, exactly. But it seems like the media completely potentially may have prosecuted. I'm not going to deny it.
Okay.
But Scott Peterson's a complete skank. Like, he's a man whore. He was having an affair on his pregnant wife. Like, the guy's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But does that make you a murderer?
It doesn't always.
It doesn't always. It is mind-blowing. So that's how I spent my weekend.
Wow.
I know. It was crazy. What about you? How's life going? What was going on in your world?
Well, every time you ask me this, I have to look at my Instagram.
I'll tell you what was going on in your
What?
world. You were up at New York Fashion Week.
I
which
was.
I have never been to. You went to Spike Lee's show?
Well, actually, Spike Lee didn't have a show, but he was honored at a show that I went to up at Harlem's Fashion Row. So I want to thank the fabulous people at Nissan and the Nissan Diversity team. They actually took me up to New York. They put me up at a fancy hotel, and they had me sitting front row at this amazing fashion show where Spike Lee was honored. So, yeah, I got to see him and hang out with my friend Sidra, of course, and just all of the wonderful people. Misa Hilton, who I did Rip the Runway with on BET. That's P. Diddy's first wife.
Oh, sure.
Justin's
okay.
mom.
Sure.
She's a friend of mine that I got to reconnect with there, and Angela Michaela Davis and Emil Wilbekin and all those fabulous people in New York. So that was a lot of fun.
So tell me this, because I've always been curious about New York Fashion Week. When you go there, it's New York, right? So you expect every runway show to be just fabulous. Do you ever go to any of those and you think, oh my God, the fashion is like so horrible?
I guess Kanye's show.
Did you go to that?
No, I didn't.
But you just like the reviews.
Right. I mean, just what I've seen, online. But no, I mean, the spirit of Fashion Week is just electrifying. It used to be better. I was living in New York in the days where it was at Bryant Park, literally in the tents, and that was really glamorous and really New York. And now it's at Lincoln Center, so it doesn't have the same kind of panache that it did before. Like, more people can fit in Lincoln Center.
Right. So it
than
takes
Battery
away
Park.
like the
it doesn't have to be exclusive.
exclusivity.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot more people are going, and then
people
some
just show up in jeans and a t-shirt.
Well,
now.
I gotta
It's like,
tell you,
whatever.
Sarah, some people are like, oh my God, I'm so crazy, it's Fashion Week. I'm like, what? You don't work in fashion, you don't buy fashion, you don't write about fashion. And why are you worried about Fashion Week?
I just see all the fashion bloggers that I follow. They're all there. So I get to see some behind the scenes stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't really know. I'm like, is this coming out at Zara? That's what I want to write them back.
Exactly.
That's all I know.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. But I will tell you something else that I did. Something
Yes.
really great. So the Mandy and David team at Compass, I love them. Actually, we are both nominated for Best of Gay DC. If you're in DC or not, the Washington Blade is our big gay magazine.
Sure.
Newspaper. And they do a competition every year called Best of Gay DC. And so they nominate the top 5 people in each category. And there was a, top media personality category. And so I'm nominated, Matt Acklin.
How do we vote? Is there any way we can vote?
You can vote online, bestofgaydc.com, and each person can
we're
use.
voting.
Yes, please. If you have an email address, you can vote once a day from that email address. So definitely vote for me. So, yes.
So proud of you. You're our favorite gay.
Thank you so much. I want to be the best gay in DC.
Oh my God.
I won it like 4 years ago, and since then,
Love it.
Chuck Bell from Channel 4 has been taking it from me, and not in a good way.
I didn't even know Chuck Bell was gay. Okay, this is amazing.
Chuck's gay.
Okay. Well,
I got to take that thing back.
no, we're stealing the crown, Chuck. Sorry. Sure, you're lovely, but no more.
Exactly. So check this out. So how we always talk about I create shows, and that used to be a big part of my business. So I'm trying to get back into creating concepts for shows. So I pitched a show, and they liked it to a network that revolves around makeovers and buying houses and all this kind of stuff. So we shot the sizzle on
Yes.
Friday, and I shot it with Mandy Mills from the Mandy and David team. So that was awesome. Please pray for me, people. I need a show. I got to upgrade my car.
We are
The
fine.
warranty's almost up. Help.
For you. The warranty's almost up. I wanted to read this to you. The whole team is here today. Joelle is our intern. AJ's our intern. She does news and pop culture. Of course, Paul. But we got a really nice message. You guys have been doing a great job of emailing us and weighing in on the show. You always can. Sarah at heyfrage.com. Paul Wharton Style at yahoo.com. But this gentleman writes to us. He goes, hey, Sarah, I've been listening to your podcast for a short time now. I'm not exactly in your targeted listening group due to my age. I'm in my mid-40s. However, I'd like to give you a compliment. I listened to your newest podcast creation. You're a wonderful interviewer. I like how you listen to your guest and do the follow-up questions. Your style is relaxing yet riveting for the listeners. Please continue to grow this style. I believe you'll be successful with this podcast. Now on to your co-host and interns on Hey Frase podcast. I honestly didn't know Paul Wharton and his personality because I worked 2 jobs and cable and was always a luxury, still is after buying this house. But what I'm trying to say is please tell Paul that I enjoy his candid his cadence, I think is what he means. Yeah. His cadence, his honesty, and I love his stories. Though I may not understand or agree with all of your comments, I truly enjoy your show. There are some times that I literally go and research your topics to learn more about the topics. P.S. Your interns enlighten my spirit about their generation. They're intellectual.
Wow.
So there are compliments for everybody.
That
You guys
is
are doing an
freaking
awesome
awesome.
job. Nice job. So
That is great.
I thought that
Thank
was
you.
great. John took the time to write that to us, so please keep it coming.
Oh, John is so cool.
Before AJ does some news and pop culture for us, I wanted to talk to you about a couple of stories that have been kind of trending over the past week. Sean Spicer, you probably saw this, but Melissa McCarthy has just won an Emmy for her for depicting former White House press secretary Sean Spicer on SNL. And Sean Spicer was just interviewed recently and says that he thinks that she ought to share it with him. Now, this might have been a little tongue-in-cheek, but it kind of got me thinking. That is kind of true. Like, she never would have won that Emmy without him. Do you think, like, she has an obligation to call him and go, hey, Sean, like, if you would like to use this Emmy, you know, at some point in the future, I'm happy to share it with you?
No.
Why not?
Listen, all movies everywhere are made about other people. So if Tom Hanks is playing some war veteran that really existed in real life, or he's
Most of the
playing
time
the
they're
president
dead.
or something, well, okay, just name a guy like Leonardo DiCaprio played. Who played Bush?
Bush.
One of these guys.
Oh God, I don't know. Oh, was that like
Well, if you're
was that like an
depicting
HBO
someone
show? Okay.
that is real.
Okay.
I mean, that is alive.
Okay.
And you play a part. I mean, you're getting that Emmy for playing the role, but they don't necessarily get the Emmy.
I think that's a good idea, though. I actually agree. This is one thing I agree with about Sean Spicer.
You do?
Well, I
I
mean,
don't think he deserves anything but a
think-
swift kick in the ass.
I think that kind of made I thought that really made SNL. And I mean, if Sean Spicer didn't have all those quirks, you know, he chews like 30
Wait
pieces
a
of gum and
minute. You
swallows
mean to
them.
tell me you, feminist one, okay, you want to take an Emmy out of the hands of a hardworking actress, full-figure, curvy woman, okay, who has broken down all kind of boundaries and give it to Sean Spicy Spicer?
I don't give it
Wait
to
a
Sean.
minute. Feminist, write in. Sarah at heyphrase.com. Paul Wharton Style at Yahoo. What am I hearing here? I'm sorry. I don't want to be right about this, people.
I don't want to give it to him. I just wonder if she ought to offer that he could borrow it at times. That's what he's basically saying. I want to share it with you. You obviously,
So
she
you want
depicted
her
him.
to share her Emmy?
Well, I am not. Sean Spicer to me seems like he has a vagina. I'm not gonna lie. He looks feminine to me. I don't know what it is about him. Anyway.
Stick your hand down
can
there
weigh
and
in
see what happens there.
You know. Earlier this year, I was obsessed with. I still am. I'm still a vegan 4 days a week. You know.
Okay, I have no idea what that means. So, I mean,
no
but
meat,
how
no
do you-
dairy. I'm
I get
obsessed.
that, but
It feels so good.
it feels good.
I
But then,
feel
don't
good.
you feel bad when you go back to the meat?
Yes, I do. So here's the thing. I've been doing it 4 days a week, and then
Okay.
the other 3 is kind of a free-for-all, but my stomach becomes such a mess that I can't do it anymore.
Okay.
So now I'm just basically vegan. I'm vegan usually 2 meals every single day.
Okay.
Breakfast and lunch. And then dinner, if I have a little meat or just a tiny bit of dairy, it doesn't, the ecosystem stays intact.
Okay.
But otherwise, if I don't, it just goes off the rails. It's like,
Sarah's
I know.
ecosystem.
It's very delicate. I had to go to the doctor this week too with migraines.
Oh,
Now I'm
no.
taking magnesium and complex B to try
Okay.
and I'm on a bunch of medications. I'm like the typical American.
Yeah, my magnesium's low. So is my vitamin D.
Take it. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I take it.
So, earlier I was obsessed with What the Health. Well, the doctors of What the Health, this is terrible, but a Chinese woman, a 61-year-old Chinese woman, has now been duped out of $650,000 after one of the doctors from What the Health, they used his picture to claim that he was a single doctor, and then now he's an internet scammer. But the doctor was preying on single women, and he was basically saying, look, I want to come visit you, and he would call them and say, I'm at the airport in China, I'm here for you, but I'm being detained, and I'm going to need you to wire $650,000 immediately because you're the love of my life, and I'm right here, come to the airport, wire me the money, you'll pick me up. And this one woman fell for it, and the guy,
God.
Dr. Garth Davis, okay, here's Dr. Garth Davis, okay? This is the picture.
So he wasn't really catfishing her. It was a real guy.
So, well, it's African scammers. They traced
Okay.
it back to an African website.
Okay.
African scammers are taking the pictures of the doctors from What the Health, Dr. Garth Davis here, Dr. Neil Bernard, they take their pictures and then they put them up on these
I
websites
see.
and they say, they prey on single women. Hi, I'm a famous doctor in the United States. I'm coming to China because I'm in love with you. I've seen your profile. We're perfect. And these desperate single women are wiring the money thinking that they're at the airport and they're not.
What's with sex and money these days? What's the deal with that?
Hasn't that always gone hand in hand?
I mean, I didn't want to say this because my sister is an avid Hey Phrase listener now, but I think I should share this story.
Okay, what is it?
Well, the other night, I'm having relations with a gentleman caller.
Okay.
And as soon as we were done, he asked me for a loan of $4,000.
What?
Yeah.
So this guy, you guys are hooking up. You're having passionate love making.
I don't know about how passionate it was because, listen, this is the deal. I was at happy hour, okay? I know the guy. I've been dealing with the guy for a while.
Oh, I love that. You have
He's
the
one
best
of my little
hookups.
side pieces, okay? So the guy's like, hey, you around? And I thought, hey, I'm at happy hour. I'm like 2 Patron gimlets in, feeling good. I said, I'll meet you at my house at 9. So I left happy hour. I just told the people, I'll be right back. And I went home to meet him. We did our thing. And then, he goes to the bathroom. By the time he got back, I was fully dressed. Sorry, Holly. I'm sorry. But I got to be honest with these people. So I'm fully dressed. And, he's like, oh, are you going somewhere? And I was like, oh, yeah, well, I had some friends I had to meet. I was like, you weren't planning on, like, staying or something, were you? And he's like, oh, no, but I really want to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay, like what? And he says, yeah, I really, really need you to help me out with something. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
And he says, I have a child support hearing on Tuesday. And if I don't come with $5,000, I'm going to go to jail. And I have 1,000 of it. And I need you to lend me the other 4,000.
Oh my God. Okay. When you first started this story,
like,
I thought it was going to be like.
With my zipper.
What? No, when you first said that, I was like, I got all like, oh, this is lame. But now I feel like, did you help him? Now I kind of feel bad for the guy.
No, I politely grabbed my keys, my wallet, checked my lip gloss.
And you were out?
Text my friends. I was like, I have to talk to my dad. He's my business manager. I don't know if he's going to approve a loan, but we can ask him.
So that was it?
Dad said no.
Do you feel bad?
No, those aren't my kids. He should have been messing around having all them kids anyway. The man has 6 kids.
Oh my God. I think I met this guy. I think I know him. Really? 6 children?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a little much. Yeah,
It's
you
a
got
bit
to.
much.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He should have got himself together.
I honestly don't know what I would do because, knock on wood, I've never had anybody ask me for a loan. So.
Well, I think people should, like, in terms of the sex and the money thing, I think that you should, like, finish the night, go your separate ways, and then text back. Like, that's the way that works.
What do you mean? Like,
don't ask me in person. Like, text me.
Oh, well,
so I
that
can
guy-
have a chance to digest all that. That's too much.
That's true. If he knew you as a good friend, I do know that about you. Like you have like a certain limit of info you take in, and then you're like, I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you.
You're like completely
like
ghost
I need to be on my own time for this.
12 hours.
You know I will, right?
Yeah, I know. I've been there with you. Yeah.
Sometimes I start to read it and I just put it down. I'm like, I can't do this right now.
I know.
I have to get back to that.
But you're always so good. You know what I do love about you though is you're very level-headed. You always get back. You're reasonable. And you do it on your own time, but that's fair. I appreciate that versus somebody who fires off like a very emotional answer and then backtracks later.
Exactly.
I like your style.
Like if I say, you need to fuck me good.
What?
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to say that. I was just like, well, I have to talk to accounting and see if they'll approve your loan. You are so funny. Oh my God. Well, by the way, just to finish this story, Dr. Davis went on his Facebook on What the Health and warned that this is fake Instagram accounts using his photo. This account in the picture is not me, Dr. Davis wrote. I am also, I am not on any dating sites and I do not need you to send me money. Lots of people have been stealing my pictures and setting up fake accounts. I will never ask you for money, is what he says. God.
So just be warned if you're a single woman out there and you're like, oh my God, because I'm attracted to Dr. Neil Bernard, who's like 60 if he's a day.
The only guy I ever got catfished by was a supposed doctor from San Francisco. I think I told you the story before, right? How the guy catfished me. And I was like a weekend, we were like in love. We were like naming our kids.
Yes, I think
on
so.
Facebook.
I think yes, and then he called you
me
and he was like, hello.
Hello, it's Paul. Yes, this is Paul. Hi, this is Robert. Excuse me? I think you have the wrong number. What is going on? I'm like, oh, no. And I told the guy, I was like, this voice and that face, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. No.
But do you really think that he was catfishing you, though?
He was.
Maybe he just had like some sort of, did he have like a health concern or something? Like maybe he had a trach or something?
Oh, now making me out to be the bad guy.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, maybe.
No, he didn't have no health concern.
Hello. Do you think he was just really
10 minutes
old?
later, no, I'm like, and I was at Linda Erkleach's. I'm like, Linda, I need you to hear something. I put him on mute. You have to hear this. She's like, what's going on?
Well,
Yeah.
that guy was ready to have your kids.
I go back on, this guy was so fine. I go back, whoever's picture he stole, I want to meet that person. But I go back on Facebook like 5 minutes later and it's completely, his Facebook's down. I mean, I was saying some things to this guy over that week. He took a good week from me. I mean, I was like rushing home
to go.
after work to like get on Facebook.
Faker. I mean, that's why I have a policy. If I meet somebody online, I got to be Skyping with you within the first couple of days. Paul, when you pass away, if you're a well-endowed guy, if you like, when you pass away, if hopefully you're very old. You're like 92 years old.
I hope so.
But let's say you're like so beautified, right?
Yeah.
Because you and I, we go to Dr. Ruff. We're like, we've stopped the hands of time.
Right.
Would you be upset if a couple of nurses just sneaked a peek at your junk?
Well, I got to tell you, Sarah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't because I'm like, hey, why not? You know how I say when I go to the bar, like I have my first drink and then my second drink. Yeah. And then my third drink is one for the road. Okay. And then my fourth drink is one for the ditch. Okay. So,
You are so...
hopefully I'll have one for the road, one good round of, love making when I'm 92. That'll take me out of this world.
Okay.
And then I'll have one for the ditch, which is those nurses.
So these nurses in Denver Health Medical Center have now been suspended after it was reported of a May 8th incident. And according to a hospital spokesperson, the nurses opened a body bag and made admiring comments about a man's genitals. Damn. The comments were heard by a sixth nurse who believed they were inappropriate and reported it to hospital staff. A police report confirmed the account. Quote, multiple staff members viewed the victim while he was incapacitated, including after he was deceased. 4 of the nurses have since returned to work at the hospital, and the 5th is no longer an employee there. I'm assuming that's the one that kind of initiated it. I just feel like, do you think that was a little extreme? I don't know. I'm like, I wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you really?
What are the name of people that have sex with
they're
cadavers?
Oh God, they're not arachnophobia because that's your fear of snakes. It's
spiders, isn't it?
Or spiders, yeah. It's you're not narcoleptic. Oh my God. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me type this in. Having sex.
No, that's
with
narcolepsy is what I thought I had when I went to the doctor.
You're a necrophilia.
Necrophilia.
You're into necrophilia.
Okay.
I just think that was. I mean, look. I'm sure the hospital. It's probably one of those things where the hospital. Once many people know, they probably just have to take action. But I'm like, really? I think a lot of doctors, when you're out, like, I don't mind if they look at mine.
Yeah.
Like, if they're like, what a nice vagina. That'd be awesome.
I mean, have you ever seen these plastic surgery procedures like on YouTube or whatever, and the person's like they're flipping them over and they got one leg up and, they see everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that I would be honored if it were me. If you have such a nice package that these guys are going back to undo the garbage bag.
Right.
Body bag to check out one last time your schween. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah. I mean, the jig is up,
I wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
So also, Paul, you and I both have a lot of friends, and I'm in my 30s. Really love this story.
I'm in my 30s, too.
You're in your 30s as well.
I'm hanging on, girl. I'm hanging on.
You're in your 30s, too. There's a new article by Lisa Miller called The Ambition Collision, and it basically says that women in their 30s are now completely disillusioned. Millennial women are disillusioned with the workplace, and they're now thinking about giving up their careers and heading back to their home states, like places like Michigan, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, because they've realized that the workplace is just too difficult. The corporate ladder is so excruciating to climb because of discrimination against women and also pay inequality. You think that's true? Or a lot of people are trashing this article because they're like, yeah, ladies, the corporate ladder has always been tough.
Sure.
Nothing new. And that it's kind of, these women are kind of wussing out because the women before us really stuck in there through sexual harassment, all this stuff. What do you know a lot of women in their 30s. What do you think they're feeling?
Well, the women I know, they usually... I mean, they work until they get in their mid-30s, and then they're really looking for a husband. And then they work for a little while longer, and then just some. I mean, I know all sorts of women. I mean, some are career women for life, but there's quite a few right now, and everybody seems to be getting engaged. But listen, when I go home to visit my mom, there is a certain kind of logic to it. Like, every time I go home, I'm like, if things don't work out, I could just come here. I mean, we can decorate her house. We plan all of our meals. We go to the country club. We go to the gym. We go shop at Home Goods. I mean, that's not a bad life.
Well, I do feel like if my mom lived closer, I would live with her. But I think it's, I don't know. I mean, okay, AJ and Joelle, and we'll get you on because we all have to talk about our sex dilemmas that we're having in our lives right now. So you guys are millennial women. Are you all, now you're just starting your careers. You guys are both in your early 20s, so you're not in your 30s yet. But are you already disillusioned with the workplace, or do you think, hey, I'm in this to win this?
I'm ready to retire.
AJ.
Sign me up.
I hate you.
So why are you ready to retire already?
No, I'm kidding. I am definitely in it to win it, and it just seems like it's going to be an uphill battle this whole entire way. I recently graduated from college 2 years ago. Joelle's actually still in college, so God bless, honey. You still got years to come. But for right now, it's just I'm realizing how hard it is. You have to hustle every single day. You have to have a vision every time you wake up, and it's just like, wow, this is it's going to take a little while. And when you start off, you're not making really any money, and it's kind of disheartening because you're like, what? I just paid all this money to go to college, and why don't you want to pay me? And you think you're working hard, but you're really not. So you just have to kind of mentally prepare yourself to go into the workforce and work your ass off and not be entitled.
It's a lot more work than you think it is. Yeah.
So is any part of you looking for that rich husband?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yes.
No, 200%. What's more than 200?
Yeah. I'm about to get percentages right now. But yeah, I'm ready to retire or marry a rich husband. I can't. I want to make it on my own.
Really? Do you guys really, I mean, this is like a topic for a whole nother show, but
Right.
Joelle has actually planned her wedding, and you're what, 22?
Yeah.
Okay. That's another day. But
Did you put a date on it?
No, I didn't put a date on it, but I.
But honestly, this is my question to you guys. Because I've always been fascinated by this, and I think probably when I was 22 or 23, I thought, oh yeah, I'll marry a rich guy too.
Right.
But what kind of makes you think that will be an easier life?
It really won't.
I don't think it would be easier.
Yeah.
I I know for no matter what, whoever I marry, they have to be established. I want them to, have their own money, but I plan on having my own money.
Right.
I don't plan on living off of my husband.
Right.
But if you want me to be your stay-at-home mom, I have no problem with that, but I'm not going to sit at home and do nothing. My career comes first. My life comes first.
But wait, you just said if you want me to be a stay-at-home...
Yeah, but I'm still going to do what I want to do.
I have no problem with it, but I'm still going to be out in the streets.
I'm still going to go, you want me to be a stay-at-home mom, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I still want to have, my career before that. And when I have kids, if you want me to stay home, then I'll take care of the kids.
You don't get a say in that, though?
I'll have a say in it.
Why can't he stay home and take care of the kids?
If he wants to stay home and take care of the kids and not have a career, that's fine too. It's just
because that's what Sarah's going to do.
That's what I'm trying to do with Dan. Yeah. No, there's no way. My significant other is such a workaholic. No, I've been duped. Yeah, my husband is no, he's already works 24/7. I'm like, who's going to take care of our kid?
You called him your husband.
I do. I believe he is my husband.
On the way.
Sarah needs a ring.
I do need a ring, but
my God. Okay, Mervis.
I'm mad at my husband today because I'm like, who is going to take care of this kid? You promised me when we were together, when we first started dating, oh, I want to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm ready to walk away from my career. I'm like, excuse me, you work 12 hours a day. We communicate over text, and now I have to, this is my question to you. Do you guys think it's unromantic that I have to ask him for sex? Do you think that's
Ooh.
Yeah. Because he
That's
works so
buzzkill.
much. Okay,
And
thank
let's
you.
remind, how you guys have been together for 4 years?
4 years.
4 years.
Which you guys said that I was saying we have sex. Dan and I have sex once, or he'll hate this conversation. Oh my God!
Don't listen, Dan. Don't listen.
It's
we're telling you right now. If you're listening right now, cut it off. Pause the
Listen,
podcast,
Dan.
Exit out of the tab.
He's such a private person. He wants nothing out there. Too bad. So we have sex once or twice a week, and I'm like, that's not enough. We should be having sex 5 days a week. Don't you guys think 5 times a week?
But why? Are you a boring lay? What's going on? No, really. Are you? Are you a lazy fuck? You know if you are or not.
But I think
you
gay
can't lie to
sex is
yourself.
different than straight.
And you said I'm too
No,
straightforward.
lazy
Wait,
sex
he said
is
I'm too
lazy sex.
straightforward.
You know.
I put in. What do you mean? I have touched
You
it.
left a t-shirt on with my face on it and just pulled it up. You still had your socks on. Don't even try it. You're a lazy fuck.
Paul, if you say, can you ask a gay person if they're top or bottom, or you guys are like another?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay. I want to know like. What,
No,
I guess
Well, you can ask a girl for a top
I do
or
all
bottom.
moves. What is it?
All
moves in the gay community. Are there any guys in the gay community that are top? Like
Yeah,
they
versatile.
Versatile.
Yeah, that's
I'm
me.
versatile,
Versatile.
folks.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
Got
Me
it.
too, Paul. That's why we get along
We're
so
both
well.
verse.
Yeah.
I'm a
Okay.
Leo, but I'm also verse.
I'm a Leo too here.
So
Are
do
you
you think
versatile?
I need to just put more effort in, and he will?
Yeah.
Because I have to remind him. I'm like,
If
hey,
you build it, he will come. I mean, you got to put a little work on that thing.
You think so?
Mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what could I do tonight?
So he's
to, like,
he's a
seduce
soccer
him?
coach, right? So you
Yeah.
could like dress up as like a hot referee.
All
That's
right.
too much work.
That's not too much work.
Dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah, play role.
She gotta
It's
go
role
to-
play. It's
Role
role
play.
play.
She has to go to the costume shop just to get
I mean,
some action.
Halloween-
Wear one of
Halloween's
his-
coming
Wear one
up.
of his shirts and nothing else.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try that.
Wear one of his like jerseys.
Open the door with just like lingerie
I was just
on.
getting so mad at him this week. I'm like, I should not have to be asking. We should be having a lot more sex. But
Cook
you
dinner naked in an apron.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
All right,
he
I'm
just
gonna try
wants you to let him know when you're in the mood.
that. Okay.
Is he
that's
always in the
all
mood?
time.
Does he always say
No,
yes?
he works all the time.
Does he always say yes
If
when
I
you-
ask, he always says yes. Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you ask, by the way? I mean, we should not be talking about this man, but
I love
I
this.
mean, what's the ask? Is it like you
Why
in
do
the
you think
mood?
this is over the line? Because I don't think this is over the line.
No,
do
I
you?
think it's fine.
I do too.
She sleeps on my couch tonight. Like the front desk calls, Mr. Wharton, there's a Sarah down here with about 10 suitcases. Oh shit, Tom not home.
Oh no.
Pull my car out back. I'm going down the fire escape.
No, I'm just like, babe, all right, I'm like, we got to be hooking it up. Like, I'm like, I just basically say it. I'm like, we haven't had sex since like 2 weeks ago. Come on. Well, not that long, but.
You have to have that conversation every time. That's emasculating.
Do you think it is? That's what I'm wondering.
Babe, we haven't had sex in 2 weeks. It's
Okay.
like, oof.
I feel like I'm a little bit
Motivate
of a gnat.
me.
All right, so you think motivate?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to start with more moves. I think you're right. Maybe
You
I'm a
should
lazy
start with
leg.
a compliment.
Start with oh, you're looking really great
Damn.
today. Okay, like I love Dan's beard. So all right, I'll just play with his beard a little bit.
God, you smell like a man. Something like that. You're like, what? Let's go Old Spice.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, just something.
AJ, what's going on in your sex life that's an issue you need to discuss?
So I'm fine with having sex once a week. At first I thought it was weird, and we've only been together for about a year now.
Okay.
So everyone's thinking it's weird. Like we should be fucking at least 3 times a day, right? Is that like everyone's thought?
I was having a lot more sex the first year, I think.
Right. Oh, the other thing is, so we live with my parents.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
see,
it's
you have a good
totally minor-
excuse.
Yeah, totally minor thing. So we'll be like mid whatever, and I hear my mom's voice like, Andrea, I just want to know if your laundry is in the washer, and if that's not just a total.
You have to wait until your mom goes
like,
to sleep.
Just all my emotions are just like, like it goes from like super super hot and heavy to like hearing my mom's voice, and then she talks about washing her clothes, and I'm
you
just
never
done.
go
There's
back to
no
it, right?
sex. No.
Yeah, right.
Unless she like leaves the house and goes to walk the dog right after. But
Your mom's like, but she's like blind, right?
she is.
Do you think she could see you? I would just.
She
So
sees
sometimes-
figures.
Right,
Yeah.
so she sees.
Yeah.
So if I'm like happen to be like putting on my clothes,
This is too much.
This is really too much. So my mom has glaucoma. She's not even. She's like mid 50s. But
know,
she
we
can't see. So
shouldn't
it
joke.
does. No, but it is comical, honestly, because I mean I've done. We weren't having sex. We were doing other things, and I was like, it's okay. She can't see. So when she comes into my room, I'm like just like. Like wiping stuff off, putting a shirt on, and it's totally fine. And she comes in. Needless to say, if my dad was home, that'd be a totally different story.
We need to almost get like some braille signs for her, like
Read the door and for like do not disturb in braille on the door.
Well,
exactly.
you and your mom talk about it a lot because you're actually
yeah.
really good friends. So, I mean,
Right.
does she know you have sex?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I told her when I lost my virginity, and we talked about that sort of thing. And
But she
so
thought it was a one and done, or she thinks you still do?
right. She's like, well, she thinks that I don't have sex in the house. And Iggy and I have separate rooms. My boyfriend and I, we're not allowed to sleep in the same room while he's living with us, and he's gonna get his own place. But so yeah, I mean, we have an agreement that okay, that's your boyfriend, and but whenever my parents walk in the room, I like pretend like we're sitting on opposite sides of the couch.
God, that's
I like-
amazing.
I like want my parents to think we don't do anything.
Do you ever think about like fooling her? Like you could do like a voice recording somewhere else. So while you guys are having sex, you can have like a voice recording in the other room. Like I'm in here, and then like she'll just like go that way.
She walks into my room a lot. She's like, Andrea, are you in here? And just starts talking and having conversation. And then I'm like in the other room, like in the bathroom or something. I'm like, Mom, I'm over here. And she's like, oh, what? So I totally could. That could
That
totally
is
distract her.
so bad. I love
But
that.
God love her.
Well, aren't you concerned? And I had a girlfriend that actually dated a famous actor, and she used to say that, look, every time I send him out in the streets, I'm draining him dry. He is not going out in the streets. She would not let him leave the house
until she got
him off. Yeah, because she was like, I'm not sending him out of the streets full of testosterone. He's gonna be you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, that one left from the point.
Well, so what I'm saying to you is your boyfriend's hot.
Thank you.
So
I take
once
that
a
as
week.
compliment.
Oh, you're right.
Aren't you
enough.
afraid something you're
we
gonna get
do
a
it,
whiff
I
or
guess,
something?
more. I'm not really counting them when we do it, so I forget. But actually, he's been away for a while. He did. He's in National Guard, so he was away for a while. So when he came back, he was super into it. I was like, oh, you missed me? And sometimes when he
you're a
wears a
lazy
condom,
fuck,
I
too.
actually want to
You
check.
just lay there.
Lazy. 2 down.
All right, Joelle, really quickly, do you have a story too about your sex life that you need to share?
My sex life is kind of non-existent right now.
But she has a hot trainer who she won't.
I won't sleep with him. He wants to sleep with me, but you know what?
Why aren't you hooking up with your trainer?
I'm just not into him. Like,
Trainers hook up with a lot of people, though. That's not.
I'm
right,
not
he's a
into
little
him,
slut,
and
so.
he's just kind of, I don't know. I'm still kind of stuck on my ex right now, so I guess we're.
So you're
situation.
dating. So by the way, because we had somebody. Remember when we had the women from 3 Day Rule
Yeah.
come in? Okay, so we have someone that we set up on a date, but they still want to know if you want to be hooked up with anybody. Because we're on the quest to get you to date a black guy.
I know you guys are. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. That was a lot of defending that. I'm not opposed. I'm not
opposed to it. I guess I don't know. 'cause
Is there a butt coming?
I mean,
Yeah, there is.
This whole ex-boyfriend situation, I guess because I'm still kind of stuck on it. I don't know which direction to move. You know what I mean?
It's over. Move on.
I love him.
Forward.
Get over, get under.
I know, but if
I
he's
love him.
if he's not feeling it, you do. It's hard.
I
But
don't
I
know.
understand it's hard.
He's so back and forth. I don't know if he's feeling it, if he's not. There's days where he's all over me, but then there's
Right.
days where he's well, we're just friends. So I don't know where to go. I don't know where we stand. And then I ask him, and he's like, well, we'll figure it out. Because then he's like, oh, I want to be with you, but then I don't want to be with you. So
Right.
what do you do with that when it comes to that?
But Paul's motioning to me. He's like, wheelchair. He's sound like, okay. So off the air, this Paul wants to share this story so badly. Off the air, we start talking to you, and one of the men that you are potentially trying to link with is a gentleman who's in a wheelchair.
That wasn't recently, but yes.
And if he hits you back up on Bumble, you want to go out with him. And so I'm trying to feel the best way to talk about this story without being offensive, because Paul,
Yeah.
also dated a guy. Because Joelle, the intern
One night.
said
One night.
oh my God, but this
It was a
story
long night, but it
so
was one
awful.
night, yeah.
So you guys do show prep, and you were basically asking the question to us: would you date somebody in a wheelchair? And we all said, yeah, of course, we absolutely would. Yeah, I would 100%.
Well, my first experience with the wheelchair situation was watching an episode of The Golden Girls. And Blanche met a man at the library. And he was a very good-looking man, and he asked her out for dinner, and she said yes. And then he says, well, I got to get rolling. And then he rolls on out the door, and she's like, what? So anyway, she ends up taking Sophia to his house, his penthouse. He ends up being really rich. She takes Sophia over there as her chaperone. She's feeling insecure about it and all that. Anyway, the guy in the wheelchair ends up dumping her. Anyway, I always thought from that time, I was like, you know what? He seemed hot, and I don't see anything wrong with it. So let me set the scene. I'm at Nellie's Sports Bar. There's a gay sports bar in D.C. on U
very
Street.
famous, yeah.
So I'm there one night, and I walk in, and in rolls this guy in this wheelchair. Hot. Okay?
I hear
I'm
ya.
like, hey. So the guy rolls right on up to me. A lot of confidence. He asked if he could buy me a drink. And I said, sure. And he pats his lap. So I sit down on his lap. I felt like the king of the world. I'm like, I want to go to that bar. I mean, excuse me, pardon me.
What are you gonna roll
around?
He was rolling me all around that bar. I was making out with that boy.
Were his arms nice?
I was
muscular?
spinning around on the dance floor. I had that chair everywhere.
Did you ever think that
We were in the service elevator. I was like, I don't need to go to the roof. I want to go to the basement. Take me to the third floor.
Did you ever think that maybe you should be pushing him or offering?
Oh, That never occurred to me. Actually, it absolutely never occurred to me. No, he loved it.
So
And he
what
knew how to do
happened?
all the tricks, and we popped the wheelie, we did all that. Well, he told me, because we talked about it, and he said, because we were making out at this bar, and I don't do this kind of stuff anymore. I'm a little bit more mature now. Like, when was this? Last week. No, I'm just kidding. I know something happened around Saturday. I feel like I'm older. But anyway, no, we were just, we were, having a good time, and he told me that he has no feeling below his waist.
So no function at all. I've always wondered that. So he's
No
paraplegic,
function.
no
He's
function.
not paraplegic because that's the whole body, right?
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, so he has nothing below
Paralyzed
the
waist
waist.
down,
So
okay.
I said to him, of course, what's the next question? Does your dick work? I mean, you know what I mean? Wouldn't you ask?
Yes.
Because you're like, is the dick excluded from
Sure,
that?
you want to know.
Right. So he said that no, it doesn't. Right. And I said, well, God, I said, what about Viagra? He said, well, yeah, he could take Viagra and it would get hard, but he couldn't really do
Nothing
anything.
would, be accomplished from that.
Let's
okay.
cross that bridge when we come to
You were trying.
No. I mean, I probably would have after. Okay, I had
such a
two,
bummer.
and
What
then I
is
had
that?
one for the road, one for the ditch. I was probably on one for the canal at that point. Yeah, I would have tried.
Oh my God, I love you. All right, look, AJ with the news. We need some news stories here before we get to my friend Jeremy Lerman, who's going to talk DACA and immigration. This show is like really a segue into that. It's like, okay, all right, sure, we've covered everything else. Okay, AJ, what's going on in news and
I
pop
don't even
culture?
know. I can't follow a Paul sex story.
I know.
mean, it's insane.
There's so many.
I know he has so many for all of us. It's amazing.
It's amazing. We're going to try, though. I want to talk about a new concept for a department store. They're going to have an opening of a store, and it's going to have nothing inside. It's a whole new concept. I want to know what you guys think. So you walk in, you're immediately greeted by a person. There's no clothes, and you're just searching through things online, and they help you order it in. You can have a cappuccino. You can have your nails done. What do you guys think?
I love it. I wanted to come up with this. I mean, I came up with this idea years ago, and I never.
That's what I say for everything. It's like, you know what? I thought about that.
I tried to get money
I
for
don't
it.
get
yeah.
it. I don't get it because I know Nordstrom is doing
Right,
this. They're
yeah,
going to try it. I really don't get this because here's the thing: I can do all that at my house.
But not with
Exactly.
help. You have help.
It's like a personal. You probably have to pay more for that, though.
Like a personal shopper.
But I feel like it's not that inconvenient. If you're an online shopper, if you become an online shopper, like in the past year, that's all I do. ASOS, that's
Right.
like all I shop, right, is online. You just begin to know that website, you know your size. The first time, maybe it's trial by error. But
Right.
then after that, you know what works. And I'm like, so I don't get it. I know they said they were going to have like a tailor there.
Right, like a special person tailor. So the area is surrounded by 8 dressing rooms where they can try on merchandise. So they're trying to cater to the people that shop online, but also eliminate that factor where you might not fit the clothes. So you try on the clothes, but you order them online, and it is probably shipped to your house. But you try them on in the store that you can't buy the clothes.
I'm not mad at it. I mean, I know it seems a little unorthodox, and some people like to leave with
And
their
you can
stuff,
have
which I
beer.
get.
They offer beer, wine.
I mean, probably to be a
Coffee,
huge
yeah.
hit. I don't know. I wouldn't go out of my way to do it. I don't know.
You know the interesting thing about shopping? I'm having these flashbacks just all over the place, but it's so interesting because when you work, you save your money, you go out, you buy something. Like I'm the kind of guy, if I'm going to like Gucci or something, I'm walking down Fifth Avenue with my Gucci bag.
Right.
Oh, you about to
leaving
see?
with-
No, I'm going during the day. It's gonna be daylight, then I'm gonna go have me a nice cocktail, somewhere.
These are the people that walk in with their Gucci bag and then walk out with another one.
Right, but check this out. All my girlfriends that really have money, like the people with
Sure.
real money, we go in shopping places and they have everything shipped to their house. They don't even want to carry anything.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, doesn't this defeat the purpose? Where are the bags? Excuse me, ma'am. Can we have 3 of those Gucci bags? I know she got her stuff shipped, but just give me the Gucci bag.
Are you the person too that then uses the Gucci bag to carry your lunch in?
Sure.
For days after.
Sure.
Everyone with their
Absolutely. Till the
Lululemon
bottom
bags.
falls out.
Oh my God, ridiculous. Okay,
God.
well,
I'm not
maybe
mad
it'll
at
work.
it.
So it opens in West California, October 3rd. So check it out, guys.
All right.
We'll all take a trip there.
Yeah, please.
Secondly, another thing that's out is the iPhone X and iPhone 8 for $1,000. Are we buying?
Yes, I would.
I'm saying order it in. I'll
They're all
tell you the
1,000.
features.
Your
Even
phone.
the last one was 1,000.
Yeah, it
but
was
now
pretty
it's
close.
less. Well, if you get it, that like years after or after something else is released, you get it for cheaper. So now the iPhone 7 is probably $800.
Okay.
So woohoo, affordable.
I would definitely buy.
Can we just, okay, I'll finish this and then I'll say one more thing about iPhones, but I'm going to tell you the features. There's now facial ID, so you have to have it takes a picture of your face and like recognizes it to unlock your phone. There's no home button anymore.
Okay, love it.
Wireless charging.
Yep. Okay.
More about it. I don't
Totally
understand it.
in.
I don't know how it
Wireless
does
charging?
That. That's what I'm saying.
You
Okay.
probably just put it on a base, right? And once it connects with the base, it's
okay.
it's going to charge you.
I don't like those wireless headphones. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just
That's
not there
another
yet.
thing. I think every new phone they just take out another feature.
Right.
So the earphones were a big thing.
Lots of people like the earphones. I haven't even gotten into. I haven't gotten into the wireless either, but I
Yeah.
could
Do you have
if
that phone?
I have the iPhone 7,
Okay.
but my issue with the iPhone 7 is I can never, for whatever reason, find like a headset that works. It connects for a while, and
Right.
then there's always like a bad connection. So I don't know. It's a pain. I just talk to people on speakerphone,
Yeah.
so they could really work on that iPhone.
So
They're like the
listen to our
word.
complaints.
Yeah.
And one complaint I have is everybody that I know that has a Samsung, their pictures are better than mine.
Yeah, that's true. Samsung has way better cameras. Like
does.
people, yeah, I know.
But then
I
you
don't-
get hated on for having an Android. It's like, God forbid your messages are green.
Oh, right. It's like FaceTime me. And you're like,
That's all you.
oh, I'm sorry.
I have to tell people all the time. It's like, oh, you can message me on Snapchat and we can FaceTime through that.
My prediction is in 5 years, Apple will not be Apple. Like, you know,
Right.
Apple was Apple because of Steve Jobs, and it's still carrying on because of Steve. He was the innovator. But you can see it already.
Right.
I just don't think there's the allure of Apple that there used to be.
Yeah.
And God forbid I have an iPhone 4. My parents still have iPhone 4. And all my friends / all our family think they're peasants. They're like, what is that fossil that you're holding? I don't
It's
understand
super
how you...
small, isn't it?
Have you ever gone
Yeah,
from like holding your
they're-
phone to holding an iPhone 4?
Yeah.
It's
mom
like,
has a
oh
five.
my God.
My mom has a phone. It's like this big, and I'm like, I can't hold
Like,
your phone.
you poor peasant. I mean, it's just insane. And anyway, so I'm going to have to try that out. My friend already got
Okay.
the iPhone X. I'm just kidding. I'm not getting that phone. I can't afford that.
That's fine.
I haven't
Finance it.
Finance it. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, I know.
Please, don't think we can.
Hi, AT&T. Yes,
Yeah.
put that on too. Sir,
Yeah.
would you like an iPad? Yes. How much?
Payment plan.
How many megs do you want? As many as you can give me for my credit.
Yeah.
Just give me everything and charge me for it later.
Charge it for later.
Yep.
And I found some guys for Joelle.
Oh,
These guys.
Has anyone seen these guys? Okay, so this was in Irma, and they're Florida first responders. They posted a picture on Twitter, and now everybody's obsessed. I have a picture here. I'm going to post it on the blog today when you guys can see it at heyfrase.com. Paul, did you see them?
Yes, I saw them.
So
Very
there's
hot.
3 of them. 2 of them are married, and one of them is single. Trying to pull up a picture
Gorgeous.
now. But
Gainesville, Florida. That's what you mentioned.
Gainesville Police
These guys are
Department.
hot,
I'm
and
ready.
they actually, I'd seen this. They got so much attention that Gainesville Police Department went back on and were like,
On
"Oh my
Facebook.
God, 2 of them are married, 1 guy's single."
so which one's single?
the one with the good hair on the
Wow.
right.
Yeah, I know. Aren't they hot?
You know,
Nice.
if you ever, you
Oh
know,
my
if you could
God.
set me up, I'm down.
We got to move to Gainesville. So
All
one
right,
girl
let's go.
tweeted out like, "Oh my God,
Another white guy, huh?
I know.
I don't know.
Loves them white boys,
I
don't
love
she?
my white boys.
I think it's the beard that does it for me. It's the 2 beards. I don't know.
Arrest me, beat me with that baton, whatever you want
Somebody
to
was like,
do.
I think I need CPR.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
Something.
And they actually put out "Do not call 911," asking for these guys to come. Like, they were
Are
worried
you
about all
kidding
these
me?
false calls coming. No, these women are desperate and horny.
God, women are
I
desperate.
mean, please. There's like it's.
Oh, please.
What about men?
Raise your hand if you're horny in this room. Gosh, I'm kind of horny. Yeah, you too, Sarah? You and Sarah are what's going on?
I'm just like,
whatever.
Maybe it's our magnesium. Girl, I got low magnesium. I'm horny.
You gotta.
Neutralize. You got to equalize your.
I got low vitamin D. Girl, I'm horny.
Oh my God. All right, look, we're going to put those stories and more up at heyfrase.com. Paul and I have a bunch of things we need to tell you
Oh,
about to come see
please.
us this weekend. Paul and I are hosting a Springfield Town Center fashion show. It is from 1 to 4. Is it 1 to 4, Paul, or
It's
1 to
1 to
5?
4.
1 to
It's
4.
gonna be great.
This Saturday. So come check us out. Also, right after that, I'm only going to be there from 1 to 2. And then Paul is taking over. He's doing his thing. But then I'll be in Fairfax Corner for their fall fashion show. So please come. If you want more details about those, you can head to heyfrase.com. You can find out where you can see myself, where you can see Paul. Also, I want to thank people. Many people listened to the Danny Starr Part 1 episode. The Part 2 is out. If you already subscribe to us on iTunes, on Spotify, you'll find the Danny Starr Part 2 episode. So thank you guys for all your comments on that. Also, Pacers. We love teaming up with Pacers. You need to check out their podcast, Pace the Nation. Or if you're in the market for new running shoes, Pacers Running has stores all through the DC, Maryland, Virginia location. You can just head to their website, runpacers.com, and check out everything right there. What else am I missing? Anything else that you're promoting coming up? We need to vote for you.
You definitely need to vote for me at bestofgaydc.com. That'd be great. Also, I will be opening up the inaugural Best in Shaw dog show this Saturday. I'm going to do that before Passport to Fashion.
I know you and I are all over the place on Saturday.
Crazy day. So it's going to be in Shaw and Naylor Court at 10 a.m. If you're in D.C., come on out and check us out. Bring your pooch.
Bring your pooch. You might catch our interns there too, AJ and Joelle. And there's one more thing. So I feel like we really normally don't have this crazy of a week. But then tomorrow I'm going to be in Fairfax for their social media week. Yeah. It's starting at 8 a.m. So if you still want to get a ticket, you can come. There's a lot of podcasters speaking. But anyway, that'll be really good. I feel like it's a lot of endless events that we're going to be at.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Hey, it's fall.
And I really want to actually go see the March of the Juggalos that are going to be happening down on the mall.
Juggalos?
Yeah, you know what a Juggalo is?
No.
Insane Clown Posse. You don't know these people?
ICP.
ICP.
No.
What Joelle's got? ICP. Duh.
What's ICP? What's ICP?
Oh my God! In Washington D.C., the Insane Clown Posse and another protest group, I haven't really kept up on it, are coming to march on Washington this Saturday. We got to go, Paul. They dress up their Insane Clown Posse music fans.
I want to go and see it.
I already saw it.
Don't tell me it wasn't good. Don't even tell me. I'm going to see it. Will I be scared?
Are you gonna have night? Do you get scared?
Oh, will I be scared? I can't go alone, huh?
Do you get scared of clowns?
Oh, we can all go together.
All right, we'll go together.
Yeah,
let's
I want to
go.
see it. Speaking of clowns.
So catch us this weekend. You guys enjoy the next interview with Jeremy Lerman, and we'll see you guys next week.
Too much fun. Bye, guys.
Bye, love you guys.
Bye, friends.
Oh, Jeremy Lerman, you're like my favorite. I love when you come on. Oh my God, I got such great hate mail when you were on last time. When you talked about the police unions, it was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't read it, but I would love to if you still have it.
No, it was specifically a police officer who sent me several emails. I got to go back and look about how, because you were essentially saying that police unions are there. They obviously protect police officers. And
Right.
there's so many sort of layers involved with that it's very, very hard to prosecute police officers once they commit a crime because of the long-standing union histories.
Right.
And this officer was very mad at you about how...
I had I have a close friend of mine whose brother is a police officer who I actually met him, not after, I met him before I did the podcast, but I sent my friend the podcast that I did for your show, and she was not pleased, to say the least.
Jeremy Lerman is a friend of mine, and I love having you on. I pride myself on a couple of things on this podcast. One, I like to have people that are a lot smarter than I am on, which is very easy to do. Okay. Number two, we have such a diverse audience, and I really try every single show, whether it's a topic about, race issues or police issues, whatever it is. And today I want to talk about immigration. I was just saying, I don't even know what your title is, but you're becoming like a doctor of what, all things social policy?
PhD in economics.
PhD in economics. I love it.
I actually just got my master's, which you get on the way to doing your PhD, because I passed these exams that you need to pass.
Okay, this is code word for you're fucking brilliant. That's all we need to know. Okay. So I want you on today to tell me and tell us, like, layman's terms, and a little bit smarter than that, because obviously you are. But DACA is happening. Immigration is such a hot topic, which I really haven't spent a lot of time on this podcast, and I want to today. Mm-hmm. We were just having this conversation off air, and you were saying immigration is such a hot topic because it's so complex. What do you mean by that?
Well, so basically, it's just there are. The same way that tax law is complex. I mean, there are just so many facets. The legislation is very hard to understand. It just creates all these sort of different classes and categories. So, like, for example, with DACA, you have these people who entered illegally, but because of the executive order that Obama passed in 2012, it's not legislation, it's an executive order. So technically these people are here, they have what lawyers call a lawful presence,
okay.
but they're not legal immigrants.
And tell me this, so DACA is Deferred Action extension for childhood arrivals programs. So
Correct,
just like you're saying, because this is terrible. I didn't even know what DACA was until it's just recently been out. But it's essentially like you have a 10-year-old kid, okay, for example, who crosses the border from Mexico to the United States. And in 2012, President Obama said, if these kids come, and these are just children, right? They're
Right.
kids under the age of 18.
I think it's 16. But you might be right. I'm not sure of the exact number.
And so, do these kids, like, what do they just have family on the other side? Like, they have family in the United States? Or what? They just wander here? I'm so confused.
Sometimes that is the case, but more often than not, it is. So there are sort of like two interesting components here. One is that childhood arrivals do not get children who are unaccompanied,
okay,
who are caught crossing the border, do not get turned away. They automatically get let in. However, they can still be deported later, but unlike adults, they don't get turned away at the border. They have to be processed. They might be given asylum, which obviously creates an incentive for a lot of these people to try and cross because they know they're not going to be turned away at the border.
Got it.
So that's sort of one component. And the other is that the conditions of the countries they're coming from are so horrible that they consider it worth taking the risk to come here. I mean, I think it's something like 2,000. I think that's right. 2,000 people who try and cross the border every year die from the conditions of trying to get over here, whether it's like heat exposure,
Right.
exhaustion, starving to death.
Yeah,
So it's a huge risk. So it's not like these decisions to come here are not made lightly. They're coming from countries where the conditions are so bad that they're desperate and they're looking for opportunity. These aren't people who are like coming here to look, trying to like commit crime or whatever, all the stigma is that's associated.
So 2012, President Obama basically says, look, we're not going to turn these people away. You were saying, he basically was saying, we have such limited resources to send his kids back. We're just going to kind of let them come in and ignore it, right?
Yeah. So for the people that were already here, he is basically, he's basically extending this lawful presence. That he's creating a sort of like a temporary protected status for these people to be renewed every 2 years by application. So these people who are here they have to apply every 2 years, and they have to meet certain criteria, right? They can't commit serious offenses. They have to be either working or in school, and the conditions are, they're pretty strict. So
it's not like you're just coming here, you get like a visa, and then nobody checks up on you or nothing happens.
Exactly. And they're not even guaranteed permanent status according to this executive order, right? I mean, that's part of the problem, and that's why it's creating this problem we have now with Trump, because he can just end it by executive order since it was created by executive order.
And that's what he wants to do.
That's what Trump wants to do.
What do you think?
Well, I personally don't think it's going to happen. I think that, there's actually a lot of bipartisan support for the DACA program. So you have people like on the Republican side, Marco Rubio, Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, and then on you have tons of Democrats supporting it, but and McCain too on the Republican side is a big one. So it's not that there's no bipartisan support. The problem is trying to get legislation through that can sort of create a permanent protection for these people who are here, rather than them just being here by executive order. That's sort of the problem right now. It's so uncertain. So,
okay, you don't think it's really going to happen, but talk to me about this, because we were talking about immigration in this country, and you were saying from an economist standpoint that immigration is really great for the economy. When you said that, I was like, fascinating, because to me, when I hear, and I'm a Mainer, I have a lot of conservative Maine relatives, they always feel like immigrants are here stealing our jobs. So Tell me about, when you said that, I was like, what? That's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's a big fallacy. There's actually like this great South Park episode about that makes fun of this idea that immigrants come in.
I hate cartoons, so I never watch even the smart ones. Okay,
it's such a good episode. You should watch it. But there's this idea out there that immigrants steal our jobs, and It's built on like several economic fallacies. I mean, first of all, there's no sort of like fixed pie when it comes to job creation. So, you know, immigrants come over here, they actually create jobs, right? Because they're not just workers, they are producers and they're consumers. They come here, they buy our gas, they use our services.
Sure, they go to the movies like everybody else.
Exactly.
Right.
Actually, I was looking at like several studies that show that on average, foreign-born citizens or just immigrants, on average, create more jobs than native-born Americans.
I bet.
So
I don't buy anything.
Yeah, so they're
I'm so cheap.
Well, just because the fact that they're entrepreneurial, not that they're buying more services, they're actually creating small businesses. So and just in general, you know, I would say like over 90% of economists, and I'm sort of pulling that number out of my ass, but it's a wide consensus when it comes to economists that immigration is a net gain when it comes to the economy.
Okay, then why is there this hot button of like, there's, you know, many of my relatives, many people I'm sure listening to this, you hear the whole immigration argument and you think, oh, they're stealing our jobs and they're just coming here living off the system. You know,
Right.
It's like, so why is there still that perception, do you think?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons. One is I think the most obvious example is just ignorance. People don't know, are not aware of how economics, and they think that, you know, that job creation is just a zero-sum game. So if an immigrant comes here and they are working a job, they're taking the job from someone else. And that's just not how economics works. Another is that there's a lot of fear-mongering created by groups who just don't want foreign groups coming in. Not always conservatives. I mean, you have plenty of Democrats who have sort of like anti-foreign bias.
Who's that? Anybody?
I'm not thinking of anyone specifically,
Okay.
but I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that when it comes to Americans, we tend to sort of like favor our own over workers coming in. I mean, I don't feel that way, but I do think there's sort of a nationalist bias. So even, for example, people who are more liberal on immigration policy, they still think that we should have a quota. We should have some sort of quota, right?
Okay.
There's always going to be, like, people are always in favor of restricting the amount of labor coming in, even though it doesn't make any economic sense. They want to keep certain kinds of people out, right? So it's like...
And do you think, and is that more terrorist stuff? Like, is that like, hey, we want to keep out people who are coming from Saudi Arabia or whatever because they produce terrorists?
I think that's a big part of it. I think another part is just this false idea that... so, for example, a lot of Americans think, oh, well, we should let the more skilled foreign labor come in, right? Like, we want, like, doctors and those kinds of people coming over, but low-skilled immigrants are, like, just taking away jobs from Americans, and we shouldn't have them coming in. But that's not right either. I mean, they're productive, and if they can produce services at a lower cost, it's actually good for all Americans.
Well, and I have news for the government. I'm not going to be a migrant lettuce picker, from California to, New Mexico.
No, that's a good point. I mean, they're often working jobs that a lot of Americans don't want to work.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the fact of the matter is they wouldn't be coming here if the opportunities weren't already available.
Right.
So... sorry.
But talk to me about this. There's going to be a downside, right? I feel like with everything, right, there's pros and cons. Okay, so you've talked about the pro, which is essentially immigration really does create more economy, more money, more job opportunities. But what's the downside? What makes this argument, aside from prejudice, what makes immigration tricky, difficult, strain?
I think... Aside from the prejudice, so I think labor unions are a big factor because, more immigration is essentially more competition in the labor market, which drives down wages. And it's often the case that labor unions can't take on these immigrants because if they're unauthorized, they can't be accepting immigrants as members. And so, basically it's in the union's interest to keep out this competition.
Okay, that is like mind-blowing. I never even thought of that. So do you feel like a lot of these union, or labor unions are lobbying? Are they lobbying?
I have no doubt. And actually, historically, that's been the case. I mean, even so, before we had any sort of like major federal legislation against immigrants coming in, it was primarily the labor unions that were pushing this in the early 20th century. So we really didn't have anything in the way of quotas at the federal level. It's not like we had open borders or anything like that. We did have restrictions on who could come in, but it wasn't sort of based. We didn't have like a sort of a set quota, and it wasn't based on national origin either. And that's changed due, again, to prejudice, but also because the labor market was becoming more competitive and union members were worried that they were either going to lose their jobs or that their wages were going to be driven down. So
wow. Oh my God, that's like mind-blowing. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Tell me this, what is on the horizon? What is next? Where immigration is such a hot topic, Trump voters and supporters of him, that was like one of their biggest things. They want to close the borders, build that wall.
It's interesting because, so that's very true, but at the same time, there have been a lot of polls done, and on the DACA thing specifically, not immigration as a whole, but on DACA specifically, 73% of Americans support this program. So even a lot of people who supported Trump are saying, even if we're trying to get tough on immigration, this makes no sense. These are productive members of society. They didn't choose, to come here. They've done nothing wrong. They pass all the criteria. They can't commit federal crimes. They have to be either in school or working. So they have to renew every 2 years. So all this stuff that Jeff Sessions has been saying, the Attorney General, is it's a bunch of bullshit. He's like a liar, but he's trying to come up with a euphemism, but he's just a liar. But I think what's on the horizon is Trump's gonna, he's gonna see a lot of pushback on this. I think what's gonna end up happening with respect to the DACA executive order is, I think there might have to be some kind of compromise between the executive branch and the legislative branch. So, it's possible that the Democrats might have to give Trump some funding on the wall in order to get this program. Something like that. I mean, I hope that's not the case because the wall is a complete waste of money and resources.
Because people are just going to come anyway. People
are going to come. And even if they give him the money, the wall's never going to be built. I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's the stupidest idea in the history of mankind. But it might just be sort of a temporary solution to get Trump to extend the program. That's just one possibility. I don't know.
We don't know for you're right that it's going to happen,
but there will be. It does seem to me, because Trump is so gung ho about getting, being tough on immigration, that the Democrats are going to have to give something up, and even a lot of the Republicans who are like very pro-immigrant are going to have to give stuff up too.
If you could just wave a magic wand, what would be the perfect solution to immigration in the United States?
Oh man,
I love this. This is like the amazing part about an economist. Like, this is so cool. What would be the perfect?
So I'm kind of radical when it comes to immigration. I mean, I basically support open borders, which is not like a feasible policy alternative, unless you sort of like get rid of the state. Like, you can't really have open borders. So, but I would say, just at least the best possible sort of step forward is, expanding access to people who want to come here, given that they meet certain criteria. And I don't think the criteria should be too tough. I just think it should be, they've demonstrated that they're not, violent criminals, and, beyond that,
Colombian drug lords, like I'm watching on Narcos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great show. I love that show. I miss Pablo.
Me too.
But yeah, I think it does. Our immigration policy as a whole doesn't really make any sense. And one of the reasons, actually, that we're seeing an increase in unauthorized immigrants, or a spike in unauthorized immigrants, is because of the increased restrictions on legal immigration. So that sort of, it's sort of an unintended consequence of these bad policies that we have. I was reading an article the other day that says just to apply for visa status can take over 2 decades.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah.
I've heard that. And look at, Joelle's mom, she's been here for years and still, maybe she just didn't apply. But I've heard and I know a lot of people in flux, even people who are married to American citizens. It's a very long process.
Yeah.
And expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive, cumbersome, expensive for not only, the immigrant, but also expensive for everyone. It's just more federal resources and state resources and all other kinds of resources that we're throwing at this thing. It's really weird because we have this potential for this huge economic benefit for the United States in order to let more immigrants in, and we're turning it into a huge cost just by imposing these policies that make it hard for us to bring immigrants in.
Oh my God, I could talk to you all day. Seriously, I'm launching another podcast series, just the two of us. Honestly, yeah.
I'm on board.
Okay, and it's going to be Teaching the Ignorant, That'll be the title. Because I am the ignorant.
You give me way too much credit, but
No, I love having you on. Where can people find you? Can people email you? Is there, I know you don't, where can people contact you if they want to debate or?
I'm on Facebook. I have email, jeremy.lerman@gmail.com.
Awesome.
I don't do a lot of social media, not on Instagram.
That's not exactly true. You do get into some heated debates on Facebook. Your Facebook
on Facebook, I do, yes. Facebook. When necessary. I try my best. But sometimes, the stupidity is just,
I want you back on. I know, this topic was more pressing today to have you come in, but I really want you to talk about affirmative action next, because I find that fascinating.
Sure.
That's next time.
Happy to do it.
Jeremy Lerman, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So good. Oh, my.
Tune in, yeah, you gotta tune in. Sarah Fraser on the mic and she about to begin. The co-host with the most, Paul Warren looking fleek. Take it from me, you should be listening. Live from the nation's capital.